What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariano, and I will be your host for tonight. We're going to be talking about a little bit of Dogecoin, a little bit of Bitcoin, and I know I say this all the time, but I kind of mean it this time. This very well may be a actual brief stream. Because I'm coming in, I'm not expecting a whole lot of questions, and I didn't give a whole lot of warning, so we may not get as many people in the live stream today, but that is not really why I wanted to go live. I just felt like due to the timing and everything that's kind of going on right now, it would be just important to give you guys a heads up and let you know kind of what I know so that you're not in the dark. So as you can see by the title, the Dogecoin run may be over. And I kind of wanted to take this 15 minutes or so to just explain to you guys where I'm coming from, and maybe even explain to you guys why we just pulled back so hard. So first things first, before I get to the real reason that I wanted to discuss with you guys of why the pullback is happening, aside from that, you have to take a look at the market. We know at this point, just from doing our research and everything, that Dogecoin and all the other altcoins, especially those that aren't extremely low market cap, they tend to follow Bitcoin's price movement. And if you go ahead and you look at Dogecoin's sell-off right here, and if you just go ahead and flip to the market leader here, which is going to be Bitcoin, and that is not it. So if you go look at Bitcoin here, and you look at its market movement recently, you actually see that the exact same thing happened here with the market leader. So overall, this is just Dogecoin following Bitcoin. Now we know, or maybe you don't know, but even though this happened on Bitcoin, and even though you can kind of expect for us to follow on Dogecoin, there's some things that are really important regarding the rate of descent. So when there's a lot of bullish momentum on something, or a lot of support, price support, you could still see a move that's overall like this, but less extreme. So let's just say Dogecoin recently had some good news, or people are feeling really good about it, and Bitcoin does a crazy move like this. Dogecoin can kind of do the same pattern, but it just be much less of a move. It doesn't have to go down 1-to-1, even though it's following the same pattern overall. So this could have been just a pullback from Dogecoin 15.5 down to Dogecoin, you know, because look at how extreme that sell-off is. It didn't need to be that extreme. It could have looked more like that, or just shorter, less descent. But at the end of the day, you can see we went from about 16 cents here yesterday all the way down to 13, and that's actually a pretty significant sell-off. All things considered, that was about almost 3 cents. And when you look at that, that's almost a 20% sell-off. So that's actually pretty significant. And so now that we've got that obvious reason of why did we sell off out of the way, what I want to talk about next is, why is Dogecoin potentially done? Why is this whole move that we just saw up to 16, 17 cents potentially over? The reason why Dogecoin even went up that high in the first place, you see all these spikes and everything here where we went to almost 18 cents. The reason why Dogecoin was so volatile again and made these extreme moves is because of Elon Musk and people's regained interest and excitement regarding Dogecoin. People love to bet against Dogecoin and say that Dogecoin's dead and is a useless coin and everything. But at the end of the day, people still, even if they are Doge haters, they still take note of the movement. And if they are good traders, they don't really care so much about what they believe about Dogecoin. If they see a good money-making opportunity, they're probably going to buy into it. So because of that, you've got people, the first buyers are usually the ones that believe in the coin, and then you'll get some more people that are just interested, and they kind of are the late buyers, and then you'll get the FOMO buyers, and then you'll get the people that are the Doge haters, but they are still traders at the end of the day. And so they're like, oh, maybe this is a good move to buy into. And so they'll even buy some, even though they don't actually like it. But they're just going to buy it to sell it when the move's over. And because of that, all of those groups of people, the first rounders, the FOMO buyers, the haters, everybody, when this time came where we bounced off of 11 and we started to get up here, and you see how the rate of movement started to increase pretty significantly. Look at these up moves here. This amount, pull back. This amount's bigger, pull back. Big moves up, massive move up, extremely massive move up. You can just see all the snowball effect of people starting to say, surely it doesn't go further than that. Oh, surely it doesn't go further than that. Oh man, it is. Okay, maybe I should buy into this. And the waves just got bigger and bigger and bigger. That's usually how you will see a buildup of hype as significant moves take place. And I know this is just slightly off topic, but let's go ahead and look at something like, let's try the daily chart as soon as this unfreezes here. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an example. While this is loading, Dougie P says, hey, Mariano, hope you're well. I watched both your ads all the way through. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching the ads. Thanks for that support. James says, hello, Mariano. Nice to see you live again. How low do I see Bitcoin going to? All right, there's a good question. So we'll make sure to touch on that. But as you can see here, I mean, just look at the waves of movement. Let's look here on the weekly. You see when Bitcoin moved from like $100 all the way up to 20,000, you got a small wave, pull back, a little bit of a bigger wave, pretty big wave, and then it got bigger and bigger, and then just, you know, it starts to go more parabolic. The rate of increase starts to increase, the rate of ascent. So anyway, that's what you started to see with Doge, and that just shows people starting to take notice and lots of hype starting to generate. And even those that bought in, you know, they're seeing these crazy moves happening, and they're like, man, maybe I should just buy more, and the snowball effect occurs. All right, well, that was happening because Elon Musk bought an extremely large share of Twitter. And that kind of means a few things, or implied a few things. But Elon Musk, he bought a nearly 10% share of Twitter, which made him the largest individual shareholder of Twitter, which kind of gives him not like majority ownership, as in he owns 50 or more percent, but it made him the largest individual shareholder. So of all the individuals or corporations that were in there as shareholders, he had the largest sharehold. So that gives him a lot of say. And now he's like a 10% owner of the company. So he is able to get a lot of things done. And people started to really get excited about that. Then there was an announcement from the CEO, or at least some rumors, that Elon Musk was joining the board over there, which means now not only is he one of the largest shareholders, but he's also on the board, able to make decisions and direct contributions. So that meant a lot of things about Dogecoin. And if you were smart and could put two and two together before everybody else, you could see that as a very clear entry signal. Buy Dogecoin. There's probably going to be a whole lot of hype. You're going to want to ride this wave out. And don't forget, guys, click that like button if you haven't, and subscribe, of course. I do appreciate it. So what were those things, and why did everyone start to get excited? So Twitter is kind of Elon's go-to platform. So he goes here when he wants to talk about stuff, when he wants to talk about Dogecoin, SpaceX, Tesla, or just anything in general. And this is kind of the platform that he lives on the most. So as an investment, it kind of made sense. But at the same time, Elon has addressed his concerns with Twitter and their censoring of free speech. So you could say. We know there were some mixed feelings on kind of what happened with Trump when he got his account deleted and his access to Twitter revoked. And still, it looks like he's not able to access Twitter or post on it to this day. And there were a lot of people that had different opinions on that, and that they started to question, well, does that kind of intrude on everyone's free speech? And so anyway, Elon, he made a statement not long ago about free speech and whatnot and Twitter. And after he made that purchase, he said something about kind of contributing to enforcing that everybody be able to have this free speech. So that was maybe on the surface what Elon's intention was when he bought a large share and was going to look to be on the board to make a difference. But then, and this is where things become more relevant for us, there was, an edit button. You could see as soon as he got in, he started asking people, do you want an edit button? So just immediately getting to work. And so all of us Dogecoin fanatics, rightfully so, we started to say, okay, Elon Musk bought a large share. Elon Musk is going to be on the board. Elon Musk is very pro Dogecoin. And Elon Musk is now, he's getting to work, and we know he has a large influence. So eventually, it's almost inevitable that one of the things he's going to start working with Twitter, or at least teasing, is the idea of some kind of Dogecoin integration. And the reason this became really, really likely is because Twitter has already been experimenting with ways to tip people. So an integrated way to send some kind of money to your favorite content creator and support them via cryptocurrency. One of the things that Twitter already did recently was they created this thing called a super follower. So you can become a super follower of certain people, and basically you end up paying them, kind of like if you were to click the join button on my YouTube channel here and subscribe to me and financially support me. You get to kind of join their Twitter and become a super follower, like a member of them, and in exchange they'll give you some perks, but you'll be paying like a monthly fee. And so that was like step one of being able to support creators on Twitter. Step two was going to be something like integrating what they call a tip jar. So basically, you could have an integrated way to say, hey, you want to donate to me, click on this button. And the primary way that the donation was going to take place was via Bitcoin. At least that was the conversation. Now that Elon Musk is getting involved, and he's the pro Dogecoin guy, and you see that day 1, day 2, day 3, he's coming in looking to make big changes and is being super forceful and asking people all the questions that they want to hear. Surely he was going to start talking about Dogecoin very soon. Sure enough, Elon Musk, if we go back to his page here and you look at some of his tweets and replies, let's find the tweet regarding Doge right here. So he was talking about something, and then he said, maybe even an opportunity to pay in Doge. So they were talking about the Twitter Blue subscription, and he was talking about potentially adding an option to pay for that subscription in Dogecoin. So that obviously would be big, because here's Elon already looking to integrate Dogecoin payments into Twitter, and then the next conversation would have been a tip jar, obviously. And it's just, if you know, if you've been in this group, you know what people have been asking for, and Elon has heard all of these things, and he is super in tune to these requests. So a lot of hype just being generated around the fact that we could have a Dogecoin tip jar soon. And so there was that. And the reason why that's such a big deal, by the way, is because these catalysts for Dogecoin, our main catalyst, sorry, I just slapped the mic. Our main catalyst that makes Dogecoin important and increase in value is acceptance and adoption. The more people that take it serious, the more people that are willing to integrate it into their payment systems that will accept it as payment, the more solid it becomes as what it is, which is a currency, a cryptocurrency. And so that makes it more valuable in its little sector. That's its utility. So something like a built-in Twitter tip jar, where the main method of being able to send tips to other people, little donations, is through Dogecoin, that would have made the usefulness of Dogecoin skyrocket, which would have made the value of Dogecoin skyrocket. And so that was a reason for you to potentially buy and strap on, because that would be big news. And then who's to say other social networks wouldn't also follow suit? All right, so that was our catalyst, and that's why you started to see people start buying like this, and we went all the way to near 20 cents. Now, as of yesterday, if you saw me on Twitter, I was pretty active and in the Discord group saying that I fully expected a 20 cent or higher Dogecoin very soon. And the more you start to look at these price movements here, the more possible you start to see that that was becoming. And I felt pretty strongly about that. Now, as you can see, that bullish sentiment does not match my current title, which says the Dogecoin run may be done. And so why am I now saying that I think that instead of going to 20 cents and beyond, we may be done with a bullish run here? And why did I highlight to people in the Discord group earlier today that Doge was selling off here? Right? And that's because of this particular post right here that I shared with the group. And I want to make sure that I'm sharing with all of you. All right. And this is from the CEO that he shared this today. This was an update. So this was yesterday. Elon was previously planning to also join the board there and have a seat on the board of directors at Twitter. But according to this tweet, Elon has decided not to join the board at Twitter. Last moment, there was a kind of a change of mind there, and he decided not to join the board. And he says he sent a brief note to the company, and he's sharing it with us all here. And so just for those that have not yet seen this post, I'll go ahead and read it to you guys right now. So it says, team, Elon Musk has decided. Let me just make sure my music's not too loud. All right. Hey, what's going on, Rick? And hi, Levi. Can I tell you where Bitcoin's going, 38 or 40? Yeah, let me give just a quick answer to that, because I know a couple of people have been asking. I don't want you to have to wait till I'm done reading. So short term, just like a 5-second answer here. You can see that Bitcoin on the daily chart has blown below all levels of support according to the EMAs. So I have the 100, the 50, and the 200 EMA, or 50, 100, 200. If we're going to say that in order, EMAs and SMAs up. That's why you see 6 lines here. Those are usually your key levels of support and resistance. On the daily time frame, which is usually the largest time frame that really matters for technical indicators, we have fallen below support of all of them, and they're even more bullish on the lower time frames. So that doesn't really help you out too much. Every single time frame we are below EMAs, unless you go to the super short ones, which, like I said, isn't super important. So that's not really a good sign. Now, I do know just from doing technical analysis that our typical support range is in the 39 to 40 area. Maybe you could say 38 if you want to stretch it a bit. So right about here, and I'll put a little drawing here for you. This is going to be our typical support area. So even though we cross below 40, and even though we've fallen below our 200 EMA support and everything, this is kind of that little buffer zone here, where we give ourselves a little bit of extra breathing room and just say, yeah, we failed the line, but we have this little area here. As long as we don't fall below that, there is still a chance of reversal. So we could still recover from 39 and maybe even 38. If we go under 38, it's not really looking so good. I mean, you could see that there is some support at 37, but I mean, you could find support at this point with this much price action. You could find support at pretty much any price. So it's not just about seeing, oh, we stopped here a little bit before, but where's the main areas that indicate strong support, strong reversal areas, potential reversal areas. And at that point, if you go to the weekly time frame, this is where you start to get some more EMA indicators that we haven't touched yet. And this is a bit of a stretch here, but those indicators are mostly sitting right here at about the 36-ish thousand level. And so that's and you can see that also matches up with this previous support dip zone that I had drawn out here from before. So this area right here around 35 to 36 is probably where we're going to end up stopping if we do fall below 38, with a chance of going down to 33. If we start to get anywhere below 33, it's going to be a little scary, a little concerning for the crypto market, but we will talk about that if we get there. Next, so short term, our next potential area, maybe we stop at 39 or 38. If not, it's probably down to around 36, and then we'll revisit. So that's the quick answer. All right, but let me get back to the topic on hand here for you guys. So just for those that just popped in, the reason why Doge may be done is because Elon, large shareholder of Twitter, everyone got bullish thinking he was going to do something with Dogecoin. Then they got even more bullish because he said there was rumor and announcements that he was going to be joining the board on Twitter, the board of directors, making decisions as a part of the company. All right. And so people got even more bullish, and that's why we saw all this crazy price movement on Dogecoin. But then the reason why this may be done is because there was an announcement that kind of killed all that hype, aside from Bitcoin selling off, and it's that Elon has decided not to join the board. And here's the message from the CEO. It says, team, Elon Musk has decided not to join our board. Here's what I can share about what happened. The board and I had many discussions about Elon joining the board, and with Elon directly. We were excited to collaborate and clear about the risks. We also believe that Elon, as a fiduciary of the company, where he, like all board members, has to act in the best interests of the company and all our shareholders, was the best path forward. The board offered him a seat. We announced on Tuesday that Elon would be appointed to the board, contingent on a background check and formal acceptance. Elon's appointment to the board was to become officially effective on April 9th, but Elon shared that same morning that he will no longer be joining the board. I believe this is for the best. We have and will always value input from our shareholders, whether they are on our board or not. Elon is our biggest shareholder, and we will remain open to his input. Then it finishes with, there will be distractions ahead, but our goals and priorities remain unchanged. The decisions we make and how we execute is in our hands and no one else's. Let's tune out the noise and stay focused on the work and what we're building. So that's kind of, that's the note from the CEO that was sent out to the company. So it looks like, unfortunately, Elon Musk did back out of becoming a board member the morning of when it was going to be official. So that catalyst is no longer there. Now, the reason why that's negative is because the first thing that everybody's going to start to think is why? Why did he back out, and what does this mean for Dogecoin, right? And that's just natural if you're a Dogecoin person and you were looking at this as a potential positive for Doge. So, and this is kind of double-sided, so please don't just tune out now and hear me out, because the run may be done, but I do think we'll see a bit of a reversal. So that's kind of the plot twist here. You have to understand that people react just to surface level announcements and the way it immediately makes them feel all the time in the stock and crypto market. Then what usually happens after the surface level realizations finish, then people take some time, they kind of nibble on what just happened, and they start to then think and expand their minds a little bit. And sometimes you even see a reversal when that happens. So initial surface level, if you just take it at face value, this is bad news. Elon Musk is not joining the board. This means Elon Musk will potentially not have as much say, may not have as much power, and may not end up doing anything with Dogecoin for Twitter like we thought he may if he was on the board and was officially kind of working there for the company. Because of that, certainly this can't be good for Dogecoin, so this is probably a time to sell, and this is where everyone's hype starts to die. So that's the average consumer's viewpoint. And that's why Dogecoin, this bullish run, may be done, because all of these smaller, more simple-minded retail traders that just think in black and white say, "Oh, bad news, sell stock, sell crypto." Now, there's a flip side to this. Why did Elon Musk decide not to join the board? Well, when you're on the board, as you can see, it says having a fiduciary of the company, where he is like all the board members, he has to act in the best interest of the company and all of its shareholders. And I think that could have been part of the problem. Elon Musk has notoriously gotten in trouble having too much fun and speaking his mind and trying to push things that he's personally interested in, or just expressing his personal thoughts, when it has ended up kind of backfiring and in a way kind of potentially hurt the shareholders and then gotten him in legal trouble. This has happened a lot. If you've just been following him, it's happened a lot over there in Tesla. And oftentimes the shareholders were kind of so frustrated that they wanted him to step down from being the CEO and everything. I do think that the same thing could have been considered here with Twitter, and that maybe this is part of the reason that Elon did not join the board. Surely he has advisors, financial advisors, lawyers, and legal advisors, and everything that he goes back to and talks to about decisions before he makes them, especially being the richest man in the world. If he can afford it, it would probably make more sense to have one than not. And so I think Elon got super excited. He was doing this, he bought the large share. He got that control that he was kind of looking for. He is serious about Twitter. Obviously, if you put down $3 billion just to own some portion of the social media company. And then he said, how can we really drive this forward? And so then he talked to the CEO and all of them and considered joining the board. And then I think what ended up happening was there was just a little bit of a realization that maybe at the end of the day, with all the things that I'm trying to do and the way that I still want to be able to behave, which is naturally, because Elon, as you can see, he's kind of one of those people that, even though he's the richest man in the world and the CEO of all these companies, he still likes to act himself. And I feel like he has a problem with not being able to do that. And so I think that realization came about, that if he has to act in the best interest of the company and kind of be like, has to be really careful with what he says, what he does, and what he pushes for, that maybe this could backfire. And so he said, you know what? I should probably just remain a large shareholder with a lot of say and not join the company officially. And I don't think that that's all that bad. Now, obviously, from a surface level point of view, you look at that and you say, well, if he's not on the board, he may not be able to make things happen quite as quickly, and he may not have as much say. And that is true. But I think the thing about Elon Musk in this whole scenario of Dogecoin and Twitter is that he doesn't necessarily have to have all that input and say by being officially on the board to make this happen. And I think that's what people are going to start to realize soon, especially if he begins to start talking about it again. I think that's going to be the trigger that starts to reverse people's current sentiment, which is bearish, and start to get more people interested in buying again. Because people that don't really understand and haven't thought about it that much, they're probably not thinking that Elon Musk is going to have say anymore. And so they're thinking in their head that whole idea is scrapped. But I think it is quite the opposite. And that this puts him in a better position to push for the things that he personally wants without having to act in the company's technical best interests all the time, but can instead push for things that are of his interest and the people's interest, which is things like Dogecoin for Twitter, being able to pay for Dogecoin, being able to pay for Twitter Blue in Dogecoin, being able to get people the edit button that a lot of people at Twitter disagree with people being granted. He can kind of act as one of us. So I think it's a short-term negative, but as soon as we start to see Elon start talking about it again, I think this portion that's causing this sell-off right now and causing us to get to these uncomfortable low levels of support, I think that will start to flip and we'll actually start to see a reversal and head back towards these levels again. And maybe we do see a near 20-cent Dogecoin again in the short term. But I just think that this sell-off had to come first, as people take this just as bad news. So I hope that made sense, guys. Now, the final portion here is just going to be evaluating from a technical standpoint kind of what's happening. As you can see on the daily time frame here, this last candle where it moved up, this is on the daily point of view. We moved up all the way to about 16 cents. And then we got a rejection wick and ended up closing pretty much right at the, what is this indicator here? The 100 EMA or SMA, one of these two, and hit that as resistance. And then from there onward, it's just been a sell-off. As you can see, though, we're coming back towards strong levels of support. So right now, we're at about 13.5, and we had a strong bounce off 13.3. If you go to the 4-hour time frame, you can actually see that this was the 200 SMA right there at 13.3, and that's where we reversed. So we are still hitting predictable levels and bouncing off of those levels. And at this point, I think we just, lost our bullish momentum. So instead of like for the whole past week where Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and all these other cryptos has been selling off, right? They've been going sideways or selling off, and we've been just going up to the moon. That part's done. All right, that part is done right now. So now we're back to following market structure until further notice. And if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's doing this exact same thing, but Bitcoin's also kind of close to the reversal spot, with some chances of maybe hitting 38K and breaking below that. And if we do, we could see a 12-cent Doge. Maybe we see another stab at 11, which would be nice for buying the dip. But I think that's only going to last until we start to hear more positive news regarding Elon Musk and Twitter, once people get over this announcement and stop selling. So that's the summary of my thought. Now, another thing that we can't forget about, and this will kind of wrap us up here, is Robinhood wallets and how big of a deal that is. Now, in its current state, guys, I will say I've been accepted to the Robinhood wallet beta program, and I really think Robinhood wallets, as hard as this is for me to say, because I've been saying for the last months that Robinhood wallets is one of the biggest catalysts for Dogecoin, and I'll explain maybe in a future video or stream why, because I tend to every stream. I don't want to be too repetitive. But unfortunately, Robinhood wallets really suck. And I know it's in beta and it could improve by the time it goes fully public to everyone, but it is just so incredibly slow. And that is not going to work. It actually completely defeats the purpose of Dogecoin. There's two great things about Dogecoin that make it good as a cryptocurrency. It's one, actually, let's just say three. Three is going to be the community, and that there's a lot of people that are aware of it. A lot of people are kind of taking it seriously, and it's fun to use. So that's one. Two is going to be the fact that it's super cheap to use. So low fees, really easy to send to someone else. You can send small amounts without having to worry about getting taxed for a transaction. And three is going to be the speed of the network and the speed of the transaction going through. And that's one thing that makes it stand out far above Bitcoin, for example, which has to have like 20 confirmations on the blockchain, and it takes all this time for a transaction to be validated and for your money to get to another person. Dogecoin is super fast. It's supposed to send in, seconds or minutes. But unfortunately, with my experience and other people's experiences so far on Robinhood wallets, that just has not been the case using their platform. I did a couple tests sending out like $5 worth of Dogecoin to a couple of my supporters, a couple Twitter followers, a couple people in the Discord group. And each time that I sent to them or they decided to send to me, the comments were, man, this is taking so long. What's going on? And what I can actually do is just share some of the feedback so far. Just about how long it's been taking. Let me see. I thought it was here. Okay. Well, maybe it wasn't. I forget where the conversation was, but I think it was on one of my posts. But the feedback has just been, man, this is taking so long for this transaction to go through. And it really did take forever. Like, I'm talking over 30 minutes. Actually, I think it was over an hour for a couple of them. Let me find this really fast for you guys, just to kind of give you that idea. And I am going to do a separate video, just a Robinhood wallet review. But let's see. Couple comments here. Yeah, no problem, Levi. And hope you're doing good, Rick. Valmore says, I agree. LAS says, meme coin season coming. Look at Kiba. Meme coin season is coming, and I completely agree with you. Let's take a look at Kiba. Kiba Inu. Oh boy, another Inu coin. Oh, why is it selling off so bad? What happened to the price movement here? Oh, this is just on the 1 day. It is still selling off pretty hard. But okay. It's had a lot of movement here. This is just a pullback. Okay. Kiba Inu. All right. Received at 9:23, sent at 7:34. So I sent $5 worth of Doge to Mandy Doge Scotland to test out Robinhood wallets, and he said he will confirm when it arrives, and he got it 2 hours, 2 full hours after I sent it. That is not acceptable by any means. Imagine being at a local McDonald's, Taco Bell, Walmart, wherever you're trying to pay with Dogecoin, and it takes 2 hours for your transaction to go through. That defeats the purpose of Dogecoin. That's the whole problem. That's the whole reason why using Dogecoin for using Bitcoin for payments wasn't going to work. It's because it takes too long. Aside from it being a deflationary currency that you shouldn't be spending, you should be hoarding it and holding it, so that it increases in value. That's the smart thing to do versus spending an appreciating asset. It takes too long to send using Robinhood. That's not going to work. So hopefully Robinhood fixes that by the time they launch it, or else this catalyst for Dogecoin kind of goes right back into the trash, in my opinion. So that's not going to be good. But still lots of hope for Elon Musk and Twitter. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Don't take the him not being on the board thing. What was that? Him not being on the board with too much weight. It is just a surface level piece of bad news, but Elon is still a 10% shareholder of Twitter. That has not changed. And if he did that for any kind of reason, you can guarantee that he's going to be involved and try and get his money's worth of changes put in. There's no reason to just buy $3 billion worth of stock if you don't plan on making any kind of changes or improvement. That's a bit excessive, unless you're extremely bullish on the company, which I don't think that's what it was. And what's going on, Rot? Hope you're doing good. All right, y'all. Well, that was pretty much it. Just wanted to get that off my chest and let you guys know there is going to be a pullback. We could be at the bottom as of right now. If Bitcoin holds here and starts to head back up, we could be at that Dogecoin dip spot where it's a good time to buy. But that is why we sold off, and I wanted to explain why we sold off and did not hold at that 15, 16, and beyond level like it looked like we were initially going to. Things did change. If I were you, though, at this point, 13 cents, you know how I feel. I've always said every 3 cents from 10 onward is kind of what I look at as a dip buy. So that's 10, 13, 16, and 19. That's where I like to add. And right here at 13.3 to 13.6, where we're sitting literally right now, I think is a great spot to buy some if you haven't already. And then maybe look to see if we sell off on Bitcoin and it pulls us down a little further, and then look to buy some more and average down. But knowing what is possible, what is still possible, and this just gave us a little taste and let us know, hey, Dogecoin's not dead. We just need a little spark. We just saw this a couple days ago. Knowing that this is possible here, we should really start to consider this as dips and make sure that we're in so that we don't miss another move like this. So my recommendation would be just to do a little less trading. So buying and then selling everything and hoping for a dip to buy back, and do more dollar cost averaging. So buying at good prices. If it falls lower than what your initial buy was, buy at the next level of support and add and add and add and add, so that you are ready to go for when moves like this happen and you're not out and looking back like, man, I didn't buy and we're at 16 cents and you're wondering, should I buy when we're going to stop at 17 or 18, right? That's never the spot you want to be in. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Don't forget, click subscribe if you